If you've already started your journey towards a greater and more enjoyable life, then you're probably familiar with the late nights of constant worrying and questioning, or the early mornings of getting straight to work. There are a lot of difficulties to face along the way, and being able to quickly overcome them and keep moving forward is a very valuable feature to have. But there's something else that's even more important, and that will decide your odds of succeeding: finding the right direction. If you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter how fast you can run. And I think this is what stops most people from doing more meaningful stuff: not having an end goal and a plan to achieve it. I'm sure that a lot of these people are neither stupid nor lazy. If they knew the exact steps they needed to take, they would put in the work. Like, think about this. If your goal is to reach the top of a mountain, how motivated are you to do it by climbing rocks and wandering through random forests? Not much, I suppose. But when you have a clear trail to follow, you realize that it's not as difficult as it seemed. You just have to take one step after another, and as long as you stay on track, you'll eventually get to the top. So, before anything else, you must make up your mind about the destination and the process of getting there. And that's not as easy as it sounds, because most of the times there will be some big and scary questions that need to be answered before moving on, such as: what do I want to do with my life? How will I become financially free? Or what's the first step that I need to take right now in order to achieve my dreams? Now, these kinds of questions are important, and they should be treated seriously. But finding the answers is not as complicated as you'd think. Sure, it will take time, effort, and energy, but what's a good thing which doesn't, really? The title of the video made it obvious. You'll get your answers through journaling. It is a great way of finding out what you think about something. The physicality of putting your ideas on paper and organizing your thoughts makes it a lot easier to reach the light at the end of the tunnel. It really is one of the most effective methods for introspection, alongside therapy, probably. What you must keep in mind, though, is that you shouldn't rush the process. Finding the answers can be a goal in and of itself, a crucial prerequisite to your journey, so don't treat it superficially, like a task that should be finished in 2 hours. If all of that sounds a little too stressful and intimidating, I've got you covered, because there is a way to make it a lot more fun. Here is my approach. Think of the whole process of finding your answers as a treasure hunt. You want to find a legendary lost treasure that's said to be buried on the Introspection Island. The problem is that you haven't the faintest idea about where to start looking for it. So one option would be to take your trusty shovel, dig random spots of land, and hope for the best. Yeah, that sounds pretty inefficient. So let's choose the second, better option, which is to ask for help. There's this friend, Arthur Journalingson, who you haven't talked to in a while, and you've heard some rumors that recently he found a map to a secret treasure. Well, isn't that convenient? You decide to pay him a visit and find out all he knows about the buried goods. It turns out that the person who hid them loved to play games, because he left behind a few riddles that, if solved correctly, would eventually show the correct location on the map. That's the only thing Arthur has done in the past few days. He's been racking his brain on these riddles like he's never done before, and the good news is that he's pretty smart. So after some long and tiring days, he finally managed to crack the code. Now, Mr. Journalingson is quite self-centered, so he just had to give a proper name to the clues that he worked so hard to discover. They're now called journaling prompts. Great! Everything's fine now. Arthur knows where the treasure is and he really wants to get it, but he's crippled. He's been in a wheelchair for years now, and there's no way he's getting on that island in his condition. So you're his only hope. You're the hero of this story, and only together you'll be able to fulfill your dreams. If there's the smallest amount of adventure sparking inside you right now, that's great. It means you're one step closer to achieving your goals. As the hero of your own life story, you have to relentlessly pursue your mission and not even think about giving up. And so, as the previous story suggested, the first step in this journey is making use of journaling prompts. These are essentially well-thought questions that will guide your thinking in the right direction. It's like I said in a previous video, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you consistently ask yourself. A specific journaling prompt might be life-changing for one person, but it can also be irrelevant for another. So carefully tailoring them to match your current situation is key. That's where coaches and therapists help a lot, really, because they won't give you straight up answers or solutions to your problems. Instead, they will help you come up with the best questions that you could ask yourself. That's their part. After that, it's on you to get the answers and to implement them in your life. And so it all comes down to having the right questions. That being said, here are my top 3 journaling prompts that I'm sure will be of great use to anyone who has a burning desire to grow and become the best person they could be. The first one is more related to the career or the professional part of life, and it sounds something like this. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Or what would you choose to do every day for the rest of your life if you knew that at some point you would become successful? You can think of anything, but most people find that the answer is related to one or more of their passions and hobbies. The day-to-day routine of such a lifelong habit could be something as simple as drawing for 2 hours every day to become a renowned artist, or writing for 1 hour each day to become a beloved author. Let me give you an example. There's this guy, Nathan Barry, who I've seen on a podcast, and now he has a very successful business in the 8 figures. The truly surprising thing is that he attributes all of his success to the simplest habit of writing 1,000 words per day for almost 2 years. It's not a complicated thing to do, but it still requires hard work and dedication, and if you don't like the thing, then sticking to it long term will challenge your mental health like nothing else has done before. With journaling prompts in general, the phrasing of the question holds immense value, because if you were to change our first prompt to something like, what could you do to level up your professional life? You probably wouldn't end up with the same answer. And the reason is that we're often held back by uncertainty, anxiety, and fear. What if I won't be a good enough artist? What if people will laugh at my stupid drawings? What if I'm just wasting my time here? All of this insecurity doesn't change one bit, the fact that drawing is your burning passion, but it can be powerful enough to stop you from sharing your art in public, for example, like on social media. And so the certainty in our journaling prompt, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, takes care of this problem, and it enables you to focus on your desires without any negative filters. It flips your outlook from worrying about what could go wrong to envisioning all of the positive and exciting outcomes. You know, at the very least, there has to be the possibility of growing and becoming more successful when starting a new venture. Because, let's face it, there's only so far you can go without some sort of positive feedback pushing you forward. If you're not seeing any progress despite all of your efforts, you're headed straight to give up town. Another way to put it is this: there's no success without progress or improvement. So by answering this first journaling prompt, you'll also intuitively consider another key question. What would you love to become better at? Now let's dive into the second prompt, which is super versatile. It could be applied to any aspect of your life, whether it's your career, your health, your relationships, or even just chilling out. It goes something like this. If everything were to stay the same, what's the one place where improvement would have the biggest positive impact? Let's say you're looking to level up your career. You could go all out trying to fix every little thing, but honestly, you'd be much better off by doubling down on your strengths. What's the one thing that would benefit your team the most if you improved it? Do that and forget everything else for now. Or, if you're constantly arguing with your partner, what's the one change that would make the biggest difference? What is the root cause of your misunderstandings? Is it a lack of communication? Is it your tight schedule? Is it spending way too much time together? Find the big one and make sure to fix that first, because trying to optimize everything at once is not going to work as expected. The great thing about this prompt is that it forces you to channel your effort and energy in the single most rewarding direction. And it might not look like much, but getting in the habit of focusing on the 20% of stuff that gives you 80% of the results is truly a superpower. You'll get more things done while saving a lot of time. I know it sounds too good to be true, but try it yourself. You might just be pleasantly surprised. The final journaling prompt is a fantastic exercise that will reveal what you value most in life. I've done it twice since stumbling upon it, and it's just amazing how much insight you can get from it. Here is how it works. Imagine you've just passed away and you're witnessing your own funeral. All the people that you deeply loved and cared about are there. Your parents, your family, your best friends, partners, colleagues, and so on. Yes, they are all grieving for your loss, but more than that, they are deeply grateful that you were part of their life. And so, rather than being sad because you're gone, they wish to celebrate your life. The only true best friend you've ever had, John, was chosen to do the honorable task of reading your obituary, the story of your life, with all of the achievements that people loved and appreciated you for. And here comes the last journaling prompt. What would you want to be written in your obituary? Take your time and think about it. In the end, what do you want your life to have looked like? What would you like to be remembered for? Is it being a great parent? Or maybe a loving husband or wife? Is it that you are the kindest and most dedicated doctor in your city? Or maybe that you inspired tens of thousands of people through your work as an author? If you think about it from the end, you can truly filter out what's really important to you and what's not. And that will give you a sense of direction. When you know exactly what you're going for and why, motivation will never be a problem. So I really hope these prompts will provide value to you and they'll help you get closer to your dream life. Now, if there's only one thing you should take away from this video, it's that asking yourself powerful and meaningful questions can make a huge difference in the way you set goals and in the way you show up in life. And the journal is your best friend in this regard, so don't forget to pay him a visit from time to time. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to press the like button and subscribe to the channel because it helps a lot. That being said, thanks for staying until the end and I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye!